In 2017, the people of Japan were horrified after a chilling case was uncovered. And the disappearance of Maldo and the woman led to an investigation that uncovered a horrific series of crimes. This dark story unfolded in the city of Yokohama, the capital of Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan. I would be glad if you subscribed and were active under this video. The central figure of this tragic story was 23-year-old Tamura Aiko from the city of Hashiyodi. Her family, consisting of the parents of her older brother, was thrown into despair by her sudden disappearance. Tamura was a quiet and withdrawn girl. She dropped out of school after graduating from high school and after her parents' divorce and lived with her mother. In May 2017, the woman died of an illness, which was a devastating blow for Tamura and led to mental health problems. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Her condition worsened to the point that she needed treatment in a psychiatric clinic. Despite the physical distance, Tamura's brother supported her through social media, offering words of peace and hope. Everything went well and it seemed to the man that his sister's life was gradually getting better. But in October 2017, the girl disappeared without a trace. During a desperate search, her brother uncovered a series of crimes that shocked all of Japan. The fate of Tamura and other victims left no one indifferent, and this case is considered one of the most monstrous in the country. Let's move to October 23, 2017. It was a week marked by silence, since the third day in a row, and Tamura had not been seen, which greatly worried her older brother. Concerned about their poor health and her tendency to make impulsive decisions, he decided to look through her social media in search of any hints of her whereabouts. The post, which was written on September 20th, sent shivers down the men's spines. It was a new idea to find a comrade to die with. Tamura wrote, "I want to die, but not alone. If you want to join, write to me. I am ready to meet in Toka. Do you have a car?" Among several responses, one was particularly disturbing. "Use illegal substances or alcohol to drown out the sounds of the country. My apartment is available for this." Tamura's response, sent 21 days later, was full of desperate. "We can do it today. I only have 1000 E. We can do it without tools. Where are you? Are you men or women?" This dialogue alarmed Tamura's brother, who was afraid of an ominous meeting. In an attempt to find her, he posted missing person ads on her account, describing the mysterious man and asking for the public's help. After a day of fruitless searching for the men, he contacted the police. Officers immediately began an investigation, which quickly led to a vital clue. Tamura was last seen at Hachioji Station on October 23 at 1345, accompanied by a man in his mid-20s, distinguished by his shoulder-length black hair and thin build. It was determined that they had traveled from Hachioji to Machida Station, and then along the Odawara line to Subadimaya Station, in the city of Zamo, located a considerable distance from her home. At 2:04 p.m. they were already there. By 7 p.m. they had both disappeared from the station. The case took a new turn when an internet user, who had been in contact with the man, wrote on cam, providing information about Tamura. It was a young woman who said that she had arranged to meet the man on October 30th at Subadima Station. Before the danger video, the police advised the woman not to go there, and instead to talk to undercover workers, among whom was Tamura's brother. In the afternoon, the surveillance team found a man matching the description in the video, who seemed to be waiting for someone. Observing caution, they followed him to a neighboring two-story house located just 750 meters from the station. The man went up to his apartment, pursued by the police. In the event, the officers smelled a foul odor from the door, and when the door swung open, they were met with a grim sight. Tamura's brother immediately noticed her white bag inside. When asked about Tamura, the man gestured to the box with a bald head, hinting at her presence inside. The layout of the apartment was simple, but at the same time inspiring fear. At the entrance, on the left, there were bathrooms and kitchens, above which was a small attic. There was also a living room, in which a terrible discovery was made. The police found 8 boxes, and when, at the bite of the detained man, they opened the freezer, they found a monstrous picture. Under the layers on the shelf for the cat's tray were hidden human heads, legs, arms and various bones. The remains of those who had disappeared some time ago. A quick inspection of the 8 boxes in the living room showed that the family of them contained dismembered human bones, and the 8th was a hot-like pile. The man was immediately arrested and a large number of police officers arrived at the scene to begin an official investigation. At the crime scene, in addition to the box of static substances, the other 7 boxes contained a total of 9 human heads and 240 bone fragments, from which came an unbearable stench. The police also found a saw, scissors, rope, and a number of other incriminating instruments, as well as several pairs of shoes and leather wallets in the blood-stained room in Anna. A forensic medical examination determined that one of the 9 dead was a man. They were all dismembered and the cause of their deaths has yet to be determined. The last death had occurred less than 2 weeks before, and the most recent death had occurred about 3 months ago. As news spread, a crowd, including many journalists, gathered at the house, and police were forced to cover the crime scene with a tarp. Neighbors interviewed by officers reported that there were no unusual sounds unrelated to the railroad. However, many locals had noted a foul odor since a man had moved in on the second floor of the building. On November 9, 2017, 16 days after the incident, police identified 9 victims through DNA matching. Among them were Mizuki Miura, a 21-year-old office worker from Otsugi, Kanagawa Prefecture; Hongi and Shihara, a 15-year-old high school student, and others aged between 17 and 26, many of whom had mental illnesses. The case shocked the Japanese community by raising the question of how the criminal managed to commit 9 consecutive murders within a few months. Eventually, the suspect's identity was revealed. As Hiroshirais, born in October 1990 in Sama City, became the central figure in this series of chilling crimes. He was 27 years old, unemployed, and lived only about 3 kilometers from his family's home in Sama City. His life had been dark with difficulties and dark events. As Hira's family, consisting of his parents and a younger sister, lived a seemingly ordinary life. His father worked as an auto parts salesman, and his mother was a housewife, but beneath this outer appearance Hira hid a deep-seated egocentrism and disregard for the feelings of other people. His childhood was marked by alienation. Early in high school, he was withdrawn, barely noticeable even in his graduation photo. Family discord, ending with the divorce of his parents, led to Hira deciding to live with his father. During this period, he increasingly dropped out of school, taking part-time jobs to gain independence. It was during this time that he made an unsuccessful attempt to end his life using hot charcoal, along with other people with similar intentions. After graduating from high school, Hira got a job in a supermarket, where he was described as a hard-working and very responsible worker. Later, the man transferred to an electronics company. At the same time, he was immersed in the dark world of pimping and getting involved with dubious individuals. In August 2012, at the age of 22, Hira went to the infamous Taki district of Kabukicho, a center of adult entertainment. There, he got a job, which consisted of finding women for one of the local establishments. Since Hira received a solid income of up to 300,000 yang, about $2,000, including referral fees and commissions. Despite this, his extravagant lifestyle left him with almost no savings. In February 2017, a turning point came when Hira was arrested in Kabukicho for trafficking a girl. As a result, he was sentenced to 14 months of probation and 3 years of probation. During his probation, he worked for a while for a logistics company, and then returned to Zamo City, Kanagawa Prefecture. Returned 6 home, so Hira began to lead a solitary life, spending days in a darkened room, immersed in the world of the internet. Japanese culture, such solitude is not uncommon. It is explained by various pressures from society. Japan, where the pathological statistics of the 70 suicides is gruesome, ranks first in the world in this indicator. So Hira took advantage of the dark currents of the internet, where death and mobism were hotly discussed. He created 5 accounts on the social network, 1 for public discussions of these painful topics and 4 for private communication. The man skillfully manipulated these accounts in order to establish contact with vulnerable people. From that moment on, Hira Shiraishi went on a disgusting journey, exploiting the vulnerabilities of those in despair, and laying the foundation for his final fall to the level of a murderer. In August 2017, 27-year-old unemployed attack. Hira Shiraishi crossed paths with Mayura Mizuki, 21-year-old office worker on a social network. Mizuki, who had been bullied in middle school, suffered from an adjustment disorder, and often found solace in the dark corners of the social network. It was here that she interacted with like-minded people who shared her gloomy thoughts. As fate would have it, Mizuki and 2 escaped death during a planned group Samo TV on the beach. This incident brought her to Takahara and another online acquaintance, 20-year-old Takugo Nishinaki. The 3 gathered in the park, having agreed on a joint Samo TV. However, Nishinaki, after thinking it over, decided to retreat from the edge of the pass and start life anew. Mizuki, saddened by Nishinaki's departure, informed Takahara that he would not continue either. However, over time, Takahara established a close-knit community with Mizuki online, having discovered her considerable savings. Seeing her as a romantic financial target, he carefully devised a diabolical plan. So Akira began collecting tools, a saw, a rope, and rented an apartment not far from the Sobudo Amaya station, which later became infamous as the location of his cruel deeds. The availability of the apartment and the lack of surveillance made it an ideal place to implement his criminal plans. Under the pretext that he needed to put down a deposit for the apartment, Akira told Mizuki to lend him 510,000 yen, about $3,500. 3 days after moving in, he arranged a meeting with her in the apartment. There he got her drunk with something artificial, and when she fell asleep, he committed premeditated murder with the help of a rope he had prepared. As a result of this, the man repeatedly raped the girl's labor. Faced with the consequences, Akira spent 3 days carefully dismembering Zuki's bodies in the bathroom. When the decomposition process began, he began to store the body parts in the refrigerator. Night after night, he discreetly dumped the machines into nearby dustbins. The difficulty of cutting off the head forced him to buy boxes of bald paper and cat litter to hide the head among their contents. On August 28, 2017, the grim series of crimes by Takahira Shiraishi continued. This time, his victim was 15-year-old schoolgirl Hongi Nsara. Nsara was a withdrawn girl who liked to chat with new friends online. In elementary school, she often argued with her mother about her studies, and after a particularly bad fight, she ran away from home. It was during this period, when she was vulnerable and browsing social media, that she encountered the attack of the Hira. In keeping with his usual pattern, he lured her to his apartment, where he repeated the same fleeing actions as with the previous victim. On August 28, 2017, Mizuki and Sarah raised the alarm of their families, who quickly alerted the authorities. The investigation uncovered a chilling coincidence. The last traces of their cell phones were found near the Sobudo Amaya station in Sama City. Despite a thorough search of the surrounding area, the police found no leads. So Ahira, hiding in his apartment, remained unnoticed and above suspicion. The days of a 20-year-old Tokuga Shinaki, a young man with highly functional autism, took another dark turn. A painful breakup led to hospitalization, and a subsequent meeting with his ex-girlfriend put him on the brink of death, which, fortunately, was averted. Problems at work deepened his despair and pushed him to contemplate his death again. Tokuga, who knew Mizuki, wrote to Hira when he couldn't get in touch with her, and they agreed to meet. After that, Tokuga's desire to part with life miraculously faded, and he even informed Tokahira of his newfound determination to live on. However, Tokahira, sensing a potential threat in him that could connect him to Mizuki's disappearance and thereby attract the attention of the police, acted quickly. He lured the boy to his apartment under the guise of a regular meeting, drugged him with illegal substances, and killed him in the same way as Mizuki and Shihara. When there were 3 victims in his apartment, the smell of decomposition became unbearable. In a desperate attempt to mask the smell, Tokahira tried to cook the remains, but the evil did not stop. The neighbors, although aware of the foul odor, attributed it to the nearby sewer and did not investigate further, unwittingly allowing Tokahira to continue his monstrous deeds. Having committed 3 horrific crimes, Tokahira Shiraishi did not stop there and continued his bloody path. Rather, he found a romantic partner on the internet, who, unaware of his dark deeds, moved into his apartment. Tokahira's next victim was 19-year-old university student Saraki Hanako, who suffered from mental disorders caused by her mother's intense pressure. On September 15, 2017, taking advantage of the opportunity when his girlfriend was not home, Tokahira lured Saraki Hanako to his lair, where he strangled, raped, and killed her. Rather, Tokahira targeted 26-year-old Hitami Fatsima, a divorced woman suffering from her child's disability and unstable family relationships. Her despair, expressed on social media in the wake of her second divorce and forced move, attracted Tokahira's predatory gaze. Their meeting took an ominous turn when the hidden call ex-husband, who had missed the meeting. Thinking that this call could ruin all his plans, Tokahira decided to quickly and ran away with end his life. To reduce the smell emanating from his victims, the man wandered into the original ventilation system in the apartment. He was offended by the fall, 4 more lives were taken, and in total he killed 9 people. The 9th box at the crime scene, ominously empty, was intended for the 10th victim. But at the time, the intervention of the police prevented further tragedy. The complexity will make the need for careful collection of evidence delayed the start of the trial for almost 3 years. Finally, on September 30, 2020, the hearings began in the lawsuit, at which Tokahira stated, "I regret that I killed some of my victims, with whom I spent a lot of time, and I want to apologize to these families. But for the rest, I really don't have any deep regrets. The only thing I regret is that I failed when I got caught." The man then confessed to killing and dismembering 9 people. Akira claimed that his motive was intimacy. He wanted to exploit the vulnerable state of his victims to manipulate and abuse them, to act out his fantasies and not worry about them rejecting his advances. His lawyer asked for his main relations with him and for his alleged mental health problems. However, the court found no grounds for mitigation, and on December 15, 2010, sentenced Tokahira to death with erasing certainty. After the verdict, the man's lawyers filed an appeal, but Tokahira withdrew it 3 days later. He explained that he did not want to cause his relatives unnecessary worry by prolonging his trial. He also stated that all the charges against him were true, and he did not want to appeal the decision. Following this, the Japanese branch of the banned social network urgently revised its rules, banning content related to self-harm, including self-inflicted mutilation, and ensuring that any violations were promptly removed. This horrific case highlights the sanctity of life and the importance of perseverance in the face of despair. It reminds us of the need to seek help and support in the most difficult moments of life, because circumstances can change. Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel.